big pile of cash in the bank, sure, it's nice, feels great, but you'll likely feel unfulfilled and it will take some time for you to find your next passion. I'm going to finally share what happened to Avodi last year, in specific, the acquisition. All right, so welcome back. It's been a while. And yeah, to be honest, nothing really that excited happened lifestyle-wise recently. So that's really why I've been neglecting the vlog a little bit. It was just me sitting here behind my desk, grinding, working on Avodi 2.0, my new SaaS product. But yeah, I do have a couple of updates in this vlog. In specific, and most importantly, the thing you've all been waiting for, I'm going to finally share what happened to Avodi last year, in specific, the acquisition. So first of all, I do realize I need to give some context and clarity about my SaaS product, Avodi, since I've been talking actively about a 2.0 version recently. The thing is, Avodi 1.0, the old Avodi, is the product I've been building and scaling for years now and almost sold last year. More on that later in this vlog. But so the 2.0 version is basically the new Avodi product. Now the big question here, why build a new 2.0 separate version instead of just updating the current one? Well, simply put, long story short, the first version, the 1.0 version, is built on a really old code framework. And if we would decide to, work and update this exact framework, it would just take so much longer. And building 2.0 as a separate product really gives us a chance to start from scratch and build the features that are most popular, even strip away some of the features that make the product unnecessarily complex. And yeah, of course, build new features that make the product even better than the 1.0 version. So that's also the main reason why I'm always talking about 1.0 and 2.0, even when it comes to revenue. Because like I've been sharing my revenue on Twitter for years, 1.0 is making around $55,000 a month, which is obviously great, but the best feeling, honestly, about building 2.0 right now is that it has its own revenue and we're basically starting from scratch all over. So let me quickly pull up the revenue for the 2.0 product. So I have a different Stripe account for Avodi 2.0. And as you can see, it's not much, but we're already over 200 dollars in MRR, monthly recurring revenue, and we grew over 200% in comparison to last month. Now, that kind of initial growth really reminds me of the early days of building Avodi 1.0. It's just really fun it's really nice to see that customers actually appreciate a product you're building. And this is a separate product. So in some way, it's a new validation. Because also, here's the deal. As of last month, every new visitor that ends up on Avodi.com will trial and sign up for the new 2.0 version. So before last month, everyone just signed up for the initial product, the 1.0 version. So yeah, it's really excited and also a bit scary to launch a 2.0 version because will customers react the same way or even better than in comparison to the 1.0 version? But yeah, up to this point, decent growth, and the trial to paid conversion is even healthier than in a 1.0 version, which kind of makes sense because it really was an old product. Now, the customers on 1.0 are going to be able to, migrate to 2.0 very, very soon. And, some of them are even asking to migrate even sooner. Like, for example, this guy, he really wants to be able to trial the 2.0 version. But yeah, before we are able to really migrate the data from 1.0 to 2.0, we just have to wait a few more weeks. All right, but what actually happened to Avodi last year when I was talking about selling the business? Now, for that, we actually have to go back to April the 17th of 2023, when this external party reached out to me to have a call about acquiring Avodi. And right from the start, it really sounded super interesting, and we did a few calls to discuss the acquisition. We signed the necessary documents, and then one day on April the 27th, in the middle of the night to be exact, the offer came in. Now, I had a choice to make. At the time, I was really looking forward to sell Avodi and start a new challenge. And so I accepted the offer. We then started talking some more. We did meetings almost every day. But then all of a sudden, it took weeks for them to draft the LOI, the letter of intent. And those weeks actually turned into months. And eventually, they came back to me with a much lower offer. Now, at the time, I was really furious. But in hindsight, if I'm being completely honest, I would probably do the same. Like I talked before in the vlog, the code base was really old and it just needed a lot of work. So it just wasn't really worth that much money. So I had another choice to make: sell or invest in the rebuild and relaunch of Avodi 2.0. And as you all know by now, I chose the latter. Now, was it all for nothing? Not really. At least that's how I'm looking at it. Because of it, something really magical happened. You know, by writing down everything about my business for my potential buyers, I really also forced myself to look at my business from a buyer's point of view. And during that process, I actually realized something. This little SaaS startup of mine is just too fun and it has huge potential. So why sell now instead of just scaling it to, let's say, over $100,000 a month? And sell it for a multiple. A funny thing, this morning I received this email from AI Solopreneur who experienced something similar with selling his business, and he pointed out something that really resonates with me. It's like seeing your kid through someone else's perspective. Suddenly you notice all of the amazing things you've been taken for granted. Yeah, that's really what I felt as well last year. And on top of that, recurring revenue is just one of the most beautiful things you can own. You know, a big pile of cash in the bank, sure, it's nice, feels great, but you'll likely feel unfulfilled and it will take some time for you to find your next passion. And I do realize Avodi is still my passion. You know, building this user feedback tool to help other SaaS businesses build better products, man, it just really feels good. So there you have it. I didn't sell Avodi in the end, and I'm glad I didn't. And yeah, it feels like we're just getting started with the new 2.0 version. If you want to follow my journey into scaling to over $100,000 MRR, which is the next goal, next milestone, then please subscribe, but also subscribe to my free newsletter in which I'm sharing weekly insights and lessons learned in building and scaling my own SaaS products. There's a link in the description below, or you can go to sipthatmrr.com. Again, make sure to subscribe to this channel for future videos. And with that, I hope you like this video. Until the next one.